Hello. Got music in the background. Just funky journey, because we're on a journey together. Um, I'm going to try to be really, really brief here again, because I've been. Can you hear that music? Or maybe I need to turn it down a little bit. Big fan of Journey. Love who's crying. Okay. I'm gonna try to be really brief because I got a lot of stuff going on today. It's about 101 heat index here in Tulsa today, and it's nasty. And I've been outside most of the day, and it's taken its toll on me. Um, and Trying to get packed to go home tomorrow, and trying to help my mom get packed for their. They're actually driving to the beach. My sister and my mom and my niece, and my sister's fiance, and all that type of stuff. Lots of stuff to do. Blah 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 blah. So where am I? Persuasion. Just chapter 6. One thing that I would say is that I went through again and looked through some blogs and through some tweets and through some threads, and I did put a brand new thread up for our third week, and so hopefully, and that's going to be all about the very first paper. So hopefully that will help you start considering, if you haven't already, what your paper is going to be about, your topic, your commercial. And again, I've sort of opened that up a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a 30-minute thing. It can be a little bit longer. I don't really care. But I've noticed, as I've been sort of checking off, that a few of you are sort of AWOL. I know some of you are prone to that. But I am hoping that you don't get too far behind. I have left these threads open, even though I said I wasn't going to, so you can go back and do the stuff that you need to do. But I would highly encourage you to do your work. And for those of you who are awesome rock stars, education, online particularly, you get out what you put into it. So, and by the way, just in case you're wondering, I think I told you this already, I've done gradebook, but you really won't have any grades per se until our midterm time, before I grade those first papers, because the threads and the blogs and the tweets are all sort of ongoing until the very end of the semester. I suppose I should have, whatever, divided that up, but I decided not to, because again, we only got 8 weeks together. So last time we were together, I talked about colors and coloring, not really, but just some of the various aspects of visuals. And today, again, very briefly, QT. Look at that. That's red. Big letters. I will talk a little bit more about some of the other stuff in chapter 6. But again, I know that you can read. But hopefully, if there are some things that you don't quite understand, that this lecture can be sort of a supplement to that, and or reading and then listening to me yak on through that repetition maybe helps you remember some things, and I also try to highlight some things that I think are particularly important. But one of the reasons, again, I'm focusing on chapter 6 and skipping 4 and 5 a little bit, but I'll go back to some of that stuff, is because I do think this material in here is super essential for your first paper, and also because, and I said this at the beginning of the semester, and it goes back to Jameson, that in our media age, the visual is muy importante when it comes to understanding persuasion, understanding how people use persuasion, understanding how persuasion works. All about the visual. We live in a visual culture, and so that's very, very important to understand. Words are not as important, unfortunately, I guess. I don't know. But, okay. Visuals, visuals, visuals. Sort of a preview. I'm going to sort of go toward the end a little bit of the book, and then move backwards. And so this stuff starts on page 166. Basically, there are 3, this is sort of a preview, there are 3 overarching ways that they say that they tend to Borchers. Borchers, is that right? I think so. He says there are three various ways that images persuade. All the stuff that we talked about the other day were attributes or different aspects of visuals, the color, blah, blah, blah. This is much more sort of how things persuade. Not necessarily what they might possibly mean, but how they persuade. That stuff about meaning is always in here. So images represent reality or represent reality, depending on what reality is. I don't know. We all live in a matrix. The second big thing is images can serve as proof for a persuader's message. Does this nut chopper work? There's the proof. Look at this damn boat I made out of a screen porch or screen window. I just threw some goo on it, and now I'm fishing. All those made-for-TV things, or those. Yeah, I mean, actually, I bought my mom one of those hoses. That it looks like a little snake, but it shrivels up or whatever when it's not used, and then it sort of elongates. And sort of that's that. But in any case, and it works. It's amazing. Yes, it doesn't work quite as well as it shows on TV. But visual proof, the before and after shots of folks who are trying to lose weight. You know, the first picture is always them. They look horrible. It's in black and white. Second picture, they're basically just sucking in and smiling. So, images serve as proof for a persuader's message. And then the third way that visuals can potentially persuade, Timothy says, is images suggest argument to audience, or basically an image or a visual can make a claim, or it has a thesis, a point, an argument that it's trying to make. Okay, so that's sort of the preview, so let's get through some of this stuff. Now, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the problems of representation and real. You know, it's reality in a lot of ways is sort of a fabrication of our imagination. Yes, there is this is here, and, you know, but, God, there's so much stuff out there. It's so interesting. It boggles the mind. But even so I'm here right now in my mom's house with my nieces, Jaden's Barbies, and all her various toys and her Legos and stuff like that. And so in a way, in this sort of indexical way, I suppose, this resembles the room. Can you read that back? But really, what you will see is not real. It's because it's not here. It's on KC. But in any case, anytime you film something or whatever, it will represent something. It's not really real. It's not reality. Television is not real. But in any case, so this idea that something is just reflection of reality is sort of wonky. It's sort of crafting anything out there, sort of crafting our sense of reality. But in any case, there's lots of stuff out there. I'll let you read the stuff by Masseris, or however you say that. But talk particularly about visuals and pictures, representations of something real. I suppose it is a representation of something real, but it's a representation of something real that actually makes the real. That is Timothy right now telling me I'm doing a really poor job. So that's just something there. Another thing, attracting attention. Obviously, there's lots of different things. Visuals want to attract your attention, and part of that is representing reality in a particular way. And so there are certain things that they say that visuals oftentimes do, and that is they can violate what you think is real. And so, for instance, if they have a big picture of Obama with his big old ears, which violates, the reality of it, but also makes a point, I suppose. I don't know. But if it doesn't look the way that we think it's supposed to look, it can grab our attention. tigers don't talk. That's not great. I don't know, but it's something like that. Incongruity sort of attracts our attention. Like, for instance, they talk about sports utility vehicle that, and a lot of commercials are like this now. They violate reality. There's no way in the world that could happen. They're sort of making fun of this idea of reality in the first place. Like the, what's that dude who has that energy drink or something that can do all these magical superhuman things, but you know. So that's one way that use computer generated stuff to do that. But so there's things that there's no way in the world that could really happen, but that sort of grabs our attention. Puppy, monkey, baby. That's just freaky, right? There is no such thing as a puppy, monkey, baby. Does it grab your attention because it violates reality that we know? That was probably one of their ideas, that, you know, this is so wacko that people are going to pay attention to it, are going to be talking about it. So, violating reality. Puppy, monkey, baby. Violates reality in so many different ways. Visual metaphors for what something is supposed to mean. You know what a metaphor is. There's lots of visual metaphors. Talks about a recent advertisement for computer modem showed a man who was trying to watch a baseball game, but whose view was obstructed by a large column. The advertisement asked if your modem was coming between you and your enjoyment of the internet. The column became a visual metaphor for your modem. And there's lots of different things about visual metaphors. I mean, you know, think about all these possible things. I mean, like, you know, I don't know. A rainbow is a visual metaphor for certain things. There's all sorts of different stuff going on there. But basically, you know, you can, just like we can use a metaphor in our language, we can certainly use metaphor visually. I'm trying to think of other possible things. Well, I mean, the whole, anytime you have an image of a political figure who looks like something else, that becomes sort of a visual metaphor in a way, whether it be a Hitler type thing or a Mussolini type thing, or something good or better or different. I don't know. The visuals can work metaphorically, right? Think about some of these commercials for, I've mentioned this before, for like digital I meant like what are the not digital, but like digital genitals, genital warts and herpes and stuff like that. You know, they have all those medicine commercials, and then they have people hiking because, you know, the medicine becomes sort of the hiking becomes sort of a visual metaphor for the functionality of the medicine or something like that. Whatever. Okay, so we got visual metaphors. Another way that it can grab attention are visual parodies, which is very close, I think, to sort of violating reality. It talks about the American Gothic, which I don't know if you know about that. Go read it. Got Milk ad company urged people to drink soy instead of milk. You know, the whole Chick-fil-A, more chicken, and the cows. Or, I mean, there's so many different things, but basically, if you do a parody of something, a parody of a show, or a parody of I don't know. There's been a lot of Super Bowl commercials, any commercials that will parody like old television commercials or old television shows. I still think, in contemporary American, I don't know if I've said this before, but contemporary American culture, one of the biggest uses that the advertisers, one of the biggest strategies advertisers use is nostalgia, and they're trying to connect people in my age, in their mid 40s, with lots of 80s references.